am introducing you to JC. His other name is Jerry Carpenter. And he owns...
Ye Old Cobbler Shop.
Yeah, where he works on shoes and
boots and coats and backpacks and purses, and we have a tailor on staff 3 days a week. And I think we're introducing you to the turtles today.
Yes, we are.
We have Stan Lee, and Stan Lee was this big when I found her buried in my yard in Wisconsin. My boys and I were raking the yard, and we found we thought just a little turtle shell encased in a dirt ball. And I tossed it up on the deck, and we finished raking the yard, and a couple hours later we were fired up the grill, and I was sitting there drinking a beer, and I saw the little turtle shell laying there, and I picked it up, and I started breaking off the dirt, and I poured a little beer on it to soften it up, and a little head popped out of the turtle shell. And I thought, oh my gosh, what a little marvel. So I thought it was a boy at the time, I don't know why, I named it Stan Lee, after Stan Lee, who created Marvel Comics. And then about 6 months later, we found Frankenstein. We were driving down the road, and between two little low ponds, he had been run over by a car, and his shell was in pieces, and he was covered in leeches, and he was in pretty rough shape. So we called a local veterinarian, and we took him in and had him x-rayed, and his internals were good. And we rebuilt his shell with this fiberglass epoxy kit and had to cauterize his tail and do a couple of the little minor things to him. And he's doing very well. He doesn't like people very much, but he really loves worms, and he'll eat about 50 a day if you let him. Stan Lee, on the other hand, she's super friendly. She'll come out and she'll sit in your hand. She loves to be petted, loves to have her chin scratched, just loves attention. Absolutely loves attention. She loves worms too, of course, but she loves attention.
So what's she doing in that bowl there?
Looking for more worms, because there's probably a worm buried down inside those rocks, and she's trying to get it dug out. That's probably what she's doing.
So how do you know she's a she?
Well, I was told that she was a she, but I'm not positive for sure. Supposedly because the shell is flatter and his is rounder, is how you're supposed to be able to tell the difference, and the length of the tails as well. So about 5 years ago, when I moved out here, I looked at shipping them cross country, and they wanted almost $600 to ship 2 turtles cross country because it has to be guaranteed live or guaranteed overnight delivery. But there's no guarantee that the animals will show up live when they get there. So I thought that was kind of a ridiculous thing. So I decided to convert the bags on my motorcycle into a tank on this side, and I hooked up a working filtration system, and I brought them cross-country on my motorcycle. We came through many states. One of the worst was coming through Utah with 40-mile-an-hour winds and 60-mile-an-hour gusts, having to ride sideways, basically, for 270 miles, roughly.
Oh, my God.
And all the way to the Nevada border. And that was the most challenging part, but they did very well. We stopped along the way, took many breaks, and I let them out to explore a little bit. We stopped at different pet stores and got worms for them along the trip, and they did quite well. And we got them here, and we've moved them into this big tank and got the whole system set up for them, and they love it. And people absolutely just love my turtles. They come in on a daily basis just to visit the turtles. It's come quite the story here, actually.
So it's Stan Lee and Frankenstein.
It is, and I call him
Frankenstein?
Because we had to rebuild him, and I understand that Frankenstein was actually the scientist and not the monster, but that's the name my kids came up with at the time. So, and it works great. He's kind of a Frankenstein for sure.
Oh, that's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I am going to show the motorcycle, and we talked about having the whole setup so people could see, but evidently it's a lot of work and it's a little traumatizing for the turtles to be put in and out. So I'm just going to show you the setup. Okay, here we are outside with JC in the back of his shop.
Hi again.
And his motorcycle, which is unbelievable. It's so beautiful.
It's a Honda VTX 1300, and it's a nice cruiser. Looks like a Harley, sounds like a Harley, but runs like a Honda.
Yeah. Let me show you this motorcycle. It's just beautiful. It's not showing up all that great here, but I guess it's good enough.
Oh, it looks great.
And he's got these cool
That's my Cobra.
Cobra hair.
Goes with my Cobra pipes.
Your Cobra pipes, which are...
And here's the bag that I put the turtles in. I converted it into a tank for them. I cleaned it out, put a liner in it. We're on a working filtration system to the battery and a little toggle switch. And they came cross country with me in it. And then I had the little turtle on board sign back here. I did put that on there again for you. But I had that on there coming across, and don't you dare show that.
This is too fun.
But yeah, they're my babies. They're my children. I love them. I have 5 children, 3 human and 2 turtles. And
How old are they?
the turtles are about 7 or so right now. It's hard to tell with Stan because she could have been in brumation for a couple of seasons before we found her. And Frankenstein, it's easier to tell with him. He's about 7 now.
So how long have you had them?
6 years, roughly. Just about 6 years.
And how long do they usually live?
Well, if you've seen the movie Rocky with Sylvester Stallone, the turtles that he had in that movie, he still has those today, and it's 50 years later.
Oh my gosh.
So, I mean, it's possible, and they're taken care of. If and when I pass, they're going to a rescue home in Wisconsin. A friend of mine, Skyler, has. Him and his family have had for over 100 years, actually.
So they have to go on another cross-country
They'll have to go
trip.
on another cross-country
We're
trip.
in Oregon,
We
all
are.
the way across the country.
Ashland, Oregon, one of the most beautiful places in this country.
A plug for Ashland.
It is. Oh, and this is a picture I took of the turtles a few years ago,
Where?
right here on my arm. I took this a couple of years ago.
Wait, the light's kind of funny. Wait, I can't... Oh, wait, I see a head down there.
You know, here's Stan Lee, and here's Frankenstein.
Cool!
And I had it tattooed on my arm. I've never been a tattoo guy, but when I took this picture, I knew I had to have it.
So, boy, what a story. I love this. What's
bike is
this?
filthy. I've
What's
never
this,
washed it.
JC? Here.
That's just a tank guard. It's a skull that's been pretty worn off. I put a lot of miles on this motorcycle. I've got about 80,000 miles on this bike now.
And how long was your trip with the turtles? when you came in?
4,000 miles roughly.
4,000 miles?
4,000 miles roughly. We went the long way back around from Wisconsin, all the way down through Missouri and wrapped around down through Texas and back up around. Yeah, we took a nice long trip. It was great.
Okay, he's about to feed these turtles.
They
What do
love
you-
mealworms.
Okay.
They love mealworms and minnows, but mealworms are much more accessible. So I drop them in here and watch them go.
It's a party.
I normally only feed them once a day in the mornings,
Uh-huh.
and they've already eaten once today, but I fed them light this morning so that I could feed them again this afternoon.
Thank you.
Of course. And they will search until they find every single worm. You can see them down here,
Yeah.
down at the bottom now, and they will move all these rocks and shells and everything out of the way. Here's actually part of one of their shells here.
Hello, I am here. This is Barbara. I'm here with JC
Good morning.
Carpenter, and we are in his shoe store and going to talk about his beloved turtles. So I'm going to turn it over to JC.
So Barbara wanted me to talk about Stan Lee and Frankenstein. They're my rescue turtles. Stan Lee was the size of this quarter when we rescued her. She was buried in my yard in Wisconsin, and we thought she was just a dead shell. And until I poured a little beer on her head, and her little head popped out, and I thought, what a little marvel. So for some reason I named her Stan Lee, thinking it was a boy, and found out years later it was a girl.
You named her Stan Lee after the...
Stan Lee, the guy that created Marvel.
Right.
Yes. And then about 6 months later, we were driving down the road and we found Frankenstein, and he's actually popped his head up here. If you want to walk in and take a look, he's doing a little basking right now.
It's a
which
little
is
hard with the sun
yeah.
today, but...
If you bring it up and over, and you might be able to see him a little bit.
There he
you go.
is.
Which this time of the year, they're just getting in a little bit of last minute basking before they settle into the bottom of the tank down here. and they're going to go to sleep for the entire winter.
Where did she? There.
She's in there somewhere.
She's in there.
She's
She was
probably
there a
hiding.
minute ago.
Here, I think she's right here. There, you can see her bottom of her legs hanging
Not
right
very
here.
well. Anyway.
Yeah,
okay.
they're getting ready to shut down, and it's good. What they do is they go into a state called brumation. It's a deep form of hibernation, and they shut their heartbeats down to 1 beat per week, and they quit breathing completely for the entire winter. They're really pretty amazing creatures. They live longer than the dinosaurs.
There she is.
Yeah, there she is right there. She's got just gorgeous markings on her. She's super friendly. She has been since day one. She looked really grumpy. I've got some really good pictures of her when she was just born or when we just found her, and she was just grumpy, still covered in dirt and just really grumpy looking, but she's just a sweetheart. Frankenstein, on the other hand, he has been really standoffish and very unfriendly for many years. But recently, he has started letting me scratch his chin and touch the top of his head. And he doesn't look at me with too much disdain at this point. So there's hope. There's hope for patience.
So talk about his name.
Oh, Frankenstein. Yeah, when we found him, he'd been run over by a car, and he's actually going up into the basking area now. He really loves climbing up into that box. It stays nice and warm. He'd been run over by a car, and when we rescued him, we had to rebuild his shell with a fiberglass epoxy kit, hooks, wires, and wing nuts to draw his shell back together. And it was like that for quite a while, and he's completely healed up now. 7 years later, he seems to be doing very well and adjusting quite nicely. Him and Stan are best friends. They hang out together all the time. They sleep pretty much in the same areas. If you take one of them out of the tank, the other one seems to have what's called to be a panic attack. They don't really like being separated.
What's a panic attack look like in a turtle?
They swim back and forth looking for the other one. They try to find out where they're at. They will literally pop up and look and see if they can see them and try to find them. It's pretty incredible the way they bonded with each other. Stan is my best friend. She'll come out, sits in my hand, loves to have her chin scratched and her feet rubbed, but who doesn't like to have their feet rubbed? And she just loves people. She's a big draw. Frankenstein, he's starting to come around. And I can't believe he's actually basking up there right now today. It's a pretty good sunlight out.
So, JC, the last time we talked, it was the beginning of summer. Now we're in October, toward the end of October, actually.
That just startling back down. I was hoping to get him. Yes?
And you made some changes since then. You had talked about the possibility when we talked before, but now you've made some big changes in this place. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, we used to have the tank over here on this counter, and it was really exposed to light, and the tank was clean and beautiful and everything, and people loved it, but the turtles were nervous all the time, especially Frank. He was always in panic mode because he was too exposed. So what we decided to do is to take out my window display, drop a hole in, sink the tank in, put a terrarium area over on the side with actual real grass growing over here that they can climb up and out and explore and whatnot. We have a basking log that they climb up over here with grass growing in that. We also have spider plants along the front. Excuse me a second. We also have spider plants along the front here that grow down into the water, and the turtles actually eat them for the nutrients. Another thing I'm getting ready to put in here is a sweet potato plant. I'm gonna mount it right here, half in the water and half out, so that the root system will grow down into the water. It'll help be a natural filtration system, provide minerals to the water, and also the flowering of the sweet potatoes is just gorgeous. You know, the sweet potato flowers are just beautiful, and the turtles will eat those as well. Got a little grass growing finally, and then Stan Lee decided that she wants to bask on the log this morning. Frank's hiding over there in the corner.
the beetles.
So here's another piece that JC just showed me. Talk about this.
Well, we decided to start farming our own worms for the turtles because during eating season, from late March till October, they will eat about 50 worms a day each.
Oof,
And
50 worms each?
It's $7 for 50 worms down at the Grange. So I decided to start farming our own worms, and I got started with 50 worms, and those worms turned into larvae, and those larvae turned into beetles. And now those beetles are going to lay me about 2,000 eggs. And I will sift them out and then grow the eggs in another container until they turn into large worms. And then I'll take those worms and put them in little containers and stick them in the fridge and let them go dormant until the turtles are ready to eat again. And just keep that cycle going. Yeah, when you take them out of the dark, they start to go, they dig in really quick and burrow, and then they just sit quietly because they're hoping they don't get eaten.
And just for people, I know some people might be repelled by this, but those little fish in the tank were food for the turtles too. But now that the turtles are going into brumation, they're not eating so much.
No,
So.
they ate 24 of them and left the other 6 alone, so we're gonna have to see what happens with them over the winter.
Yeah.
So finding the turtles and rescuing them, I had also been going through a pretty awful divorce at the time, and they rescued me as much as I rescued them. I talk to them every day. I swear they communicate with me. Frank looks at me, and mostly all he ever says is, "You got any worms?" But Stan Lee, she tells me every day with her eyes that she loves me, and I can feel it, the way she responds to me, and just comes up, and she will literally come up and let me hold her hands, and we'll just sit and look at each other and just bond for minutes at a time. And she will and then I'll just scratch her chin, and then she'll just go swim off and do her own little thing, and I'll go back to fixing shoes, and that just really gets me through the day. Almost every day, whenever I need any kind of encouragement or just peace, I come out and I spend time with my turtles. They're my family.
So what is it about turtles that you love so much? How did this whole thing start? Who knows?
Just rescuing them. I mean, finding something that needed my help, and it gave me purpose and focus, because my kids were at an age where they were doing their own things, and I was going through a divorce, and I wasn't really focused on anything other than that at the time, and I needed to have something else. So I truly believe they were put into my life for that, to help me get through a really bad situation in my life. And by helping them, they helped me, and we have this relationship now. And even Frankenstein, he's coming around. He lets me talk to him and pet him now, which is incredible, because 7 years and he's just been a grumpy guy that would swim the other way and would kick and try to snap at me if I tried to touch him. And now he just comes up and lets me scratch his head.
You know, I wonder if it has to do with their new living situation, because when we talked before, just a few months ago, he wasn't like that.
No, and I agree. I totally agree that it's with the new living situation. I think they feel more secure. They have a much more natural environment. We've created a 3-layer sediment bottom for them.
Let's see if I can get it. The
Yeah,
sun is pretty bright.
There's 2 layers of sand and a layer of mud in here for them, which is much more natural for them. The water is actually very clean. It's just dark in here because it's enclosed on 3 sides, and their only light comes in from the top and from the front when we have the doors open. So they really enjoy that. They can come up into the top and bask and get as hot as they want, for as long as they want, and then just dive down into the water and self-regulate their temperature. And this window gets nice and toasty in the summertime. So, and another natural thing here, they get to follow the sun and the moon on its natural cycles, because it travels right across the plane. So it's really an amazing situation.
Fantastic.
I really love having them here. It's a godsend for me.
You work with horses, with kids with horses too, don't you?
I do sometimes go out to Rising Hope Stables, and I mostly just shovel manure and just help clean the paddocks and stuff. It just helps to pay for a couple of my godchildren's lessons and stuff, and for their the ability to store their horses and stuff out there.
Well, the reason I'm asking about that is there's a different kind of relationship that you could have with a mammal like a horse or a dog or a cat than a turtle. So what do you think about that? Have you ever had pets like dogs, and how is it different
I
for
actually,
you?
about 10 years ago, I lost a bird that I had for many years, and her name was Tebow, and she was a cockatiel. And she used to ride around on my shoulder with me everywhere I went. I'd go into towns, stores, downriver on my kayak. She would ride on my shoulder, and she could fly. And she would fly around and do whatever she wanted. And I had her trained, if I would whistle happy and you know it, she would come to me, because she associated that with being fed. And so we would go to work in the morning, and my shop was about 4.5 miles or so from my house. I'd take her to work in the morning, and if she got to where she wanted to go home today, I'd just take her outside and she'd fly home. She'd just take off and she'd go home. I'd get home in the evening and she'd be there waiting for me up in the trees.
How far was it?
About 4.5 miles or so. She liked to smoke weed and drink though, so she lived about 9 years, and she got taken out by a falcon, which was sad, but she lived a good life. She lived many years. She had several clutches of babies. She was able to lay eggs and have babies, and she was my best friend for many years. And then she got taken from me, and it wasn't long after that I went through my divorce, and then I found the turtles, and so they were they replaced it, which is a kind of a crazy thing. You go from this bird that's free and flying fast and would play these most amazing games of aerial tag with her siblings, because I had a couple of more that they would fly around. They weren't like Tebow, but she was a very extremely special bird. But I went from that to these slow, methodical turtles that are very thought out and very wise, So it's just from one extreme to another. But the relationship for me and Tebow and me and Stan Lee is close to the same. We very bonded the same. I pet Stan Lee like I petted Tebow. I'd scratch her head and stuff and whatnot. She was a little more affectionate, because I think that's just her nature. But Stan Lee is very affectionate, and she loves to have that attention and be petted and stuff. So I don't know if the relationship is different or has to be different. I think it can be the same between a reptile and a full mammal. I think the relationship depends on the human connection, because if we're able to connect, if we're able to use our spirits, because that's probably the animals, they can connect. They have no issues with that at all. They don't have all this learned hate and stuff that in their hearts that we have been taught our entire lives. They're just natural creatures that love. And that's all we have to do, is be able to love them and connect with them. And then it's hands on. And I mean, we're there, it's all no holds barred.
Look, they're both hanging out with us now.
Yeah, they're besties.
And they're right with us.
Oh yeah.
Maybe they like what we're doing. Huh?
Oh yeah, of course. They have facial recognition. They have sound recognition, so they can actually hear us talking. They can feel us, the vibrations and stuff, and they can see us, and they know who I am. And you've been in a few times, so they may start recognizing you as well.
Oh my gosh, I love this so much. And it's so interesting that so many people are connected with their pets, their dogs and their cats, or even their horses, But you rarely hear about that deep connection with turtles or birds or other beings, and it's wonderful.
I've got friends that have reptiles that are very like lizards and stuff, bearded dragons stuff, and they're very connected with them. I got another buddy of mine, he's had several rats throughout his life. He loves these little rats, and he takes them everywhere with him. They don't live long, but he has really good connections with them. So I think it's just, again, it's the human connection there. Once the human person can actually bond with something other than themselves, and care for something else more than they care for themselves, then it's what it is. I mean, it's easy for the animal to do it, because they don't have any hate in their hearts.
Well, thank you, JC. This has been so wonderful, and I think people are going to learn a lot from this.
Yeah.
I have. And what a beautiful connection you have with these guys. You've had them how long now?
I've had them 7 years now.
Since they were like the size of a quarter.
She was the size of a quarter, and he was about this big, I suppose, maybe a little bit bigger. And I think best guesstimate he's about 9 years old. I'm thinking he was about 2 years old when we rescued him. And I'm hoping that someday she'll be able to climb out and get up in here and dig a little spot and maybe lay some eggs up there. Not sure if his tail is going to allow that to happen because we had to cauterize his tail. It had been cut. So, and it's part of the reproductive organ and all that. So,
How does the tail? Is it part
it
of
helps them to be able to
mount?
Yeah.
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 Okay, we don't need to get.
Wasn't sure how far we wanted to get into
We
that.
don't want to get too graphic here.
Yeah. Yes, children.
Well, thank you so much,
You're
JC.
welcome.
It's
Thank
been
you.
a pleasure.
Thank you for letting me share. I love sharing about the turtles. I think I spend more time talking to customers about my turtles than I actually do fixing shoes sometimes, but I still get my work done.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.